Okay, let's go to the MIDI menu, and then we'll go to the advanced menu. Again, press and hold the mix button. And we were just in the setup menu just a minute ago, and that's the parameter that showed up when I pressed and held the setup button. So let's hold the right arrow, and it says MIDI. Now we're in the MIDI menu. You can set channel again. You can set the filter for program change and system exclusive or none, etc. And I'm going to go through these quite quickly. These are all parameters that you can set when you're using MIDI to control the harmonies in VoiceLive Touch. Now this one I wanted to talk about. This is Midi Control. When you've got a physical MIDI DIN plug on the back there, and you've also got USB, both of which are capable of receiving MIDI, you got to kind of decide which one of those is going to be used for system exclusive, like things like updates from voice support, or keyboard control. Right now the parameter value is merge, which means that if you have a MIDI cable connected to the DIN plug from your keyboard controller, that it will control harmonies, but it won't accept any system exclusive in there. And if you have a USB connected at the same time, you can use voice support to, for example, download presets while you're using the keyboard controller. So in a sense, it's merging both of those streams. When you go to the other one, this is called MIDI, and that means that the USB connector is basically turned off, muted. It's all input comes from the MIDI DIN plug at the back, including system exclusive and controller and keyboard notes. And this one, USB, of course, that flips that around. The DIN plug, the MIDI DIN plug, is ignored, and all MIDI, including system exclusive, notes for controlling harmony, and all those controllers, etc., are only coming in the USB. So sometimes if you're a keyboard controller and you've plugged in your keyboard controller and the harmonies aren't being controlled, come to this menu in the MIDI setup menu, number 10 here, and just make sure that's set to the right thing. I'll set that back to merge. And okay, that's the full MIDI menu. And remember, we're accessing these menus by pressing and holding the arrow buttons. There are 3 menus: setup, MIDI, and advanced. And let's go to the advanced one now. There you go, advanced. Now this one has stuff that you're not going to use all that often, but let's go have a look at them anyway. Scroll speed. See how fast that scrolls? We can speed that up. Smaller numbers go faster. My favorite is 15. Doink. See, it's a little faster. If you're a real eagle eye, you can go down to 10, but I doubt you'll be able to use that. Whoa! I'll set that back to 25 just because it's what you're used to seeing. There we go. Lead mute. If you have your voice, or rather your microphone connected into an external mixer and you're using VoiceLive Touch just for the effects like harmony and things that stack onto your dry voice, you'd turn that lead mute on. Otherwise, leave it off. Lead delay. You can actually introduce a short, tiny little delay to your dry voice when you're singing with harmony and doubling, and it'll line up your voice more accurately with the harmony and doubling voices, which in their own have a slight delay. Normally you'd leave that to none, but you can try that when you're playing a recording back, and it doesn't matter if you sing on time or not. You can set that to voice and you'll hear the difference. It sounds actually a little bit more natural. Guitar mute, again, if you've got a guitar coming in, has its own dry path. It's connected to an external mixer, and you're running an auxiliary send into this, and you want to hear just the guitar effects in 100% guitar effects coming out of here. You'd set that guitar mute to on. Otherwise, leave it off. Undo, on and off. If you turn the undo off, you'll double the length of time you have available for looping without the ability to undo. Of course, you got to be pretty gutsy, but you can do that and double the length. Loop feedback. When you're in record and if you turn this down, you can actually do sort of a fade out thing as each time it loops around. And output level. Yeah, if you're connecting VoiceLive Touch to a mixer that's got very, very sensitive inputs, you can actually turn this down a little bit. See, I'm turning it down now. Generally, you'll want to leave that to 0 dB. And tune reference, if the harmonies have to be in tune to an instrument that's tuned generally it's A equals 440. If you're singing along to a piano that's not at A 440, for example, the whole piano's dropped in pitch, you can lower that so the harmonies will still sound in tune. This has nothing to do with the guitar tuner or any of that drop tuning. Nothing to do with that. That's only to do with harmonies when you're singing along with an instrument whose A has dropped or raised in pitch from 440. And demo, there is a demonstration mode in this. You can turn it on and it'll give you some prompts, and it's lots of fun to listen to. I want to show you one thing though. Remember how I said when you go out of this menu and then you go back in, it'll come back to the parameter you were just recently on. This is kind of handy. For example, if you wanted to, say you want to do a fade out, you just wanted to use the output parameter in the advanced menu, which is what we're in, to do a fade out. You could say build a little loop and get some crazy cool stuff going, and then instead of having to type around to get to the advanced menu, you just press and hold, and there's your parameter right there, and then you can just go fade it out. Like that.